Hey, you guys. Let's see who can make it in. I missed you guys. How long has it been anyway? I would have to open up another tab to see. I almost did this live chat from my bed. My energy has been so lately. It has been so. I think it's that Jupiter and Pisces. That can make everybody a little sleepy. You might feel that energy in your life too, honestly. But yeah, I've been so wrapped up in my family life and just trying to maintain that area. Okay. So I have various topics to talk about today. And as you can see from the title there, so we can go ahead and just go on and jump on into it because, I'm not a long-winded person and I like to get to the point. And for those of you who are waiting to have their free sessions with me. For those of you who haven't done it, I'll be reaching out either today or tomorrow in regards to that. But I kind of had to not necessarily freeze my schedule, but slow down for a minute because life does catch up with even CoachLakia sometimes. And when it does, I have to take several seats. Okay. I have to take several seats and I'm not allowed to get up until my body says I can. All right. Because, it gets like that sometimes. But how's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well, you guys. So I do have various topics here to talk about today. If you have anything that you would like for me to touch on, feel free to add it in the chat. As I always say, live chats are great times to interact with me, especially if you can't afford private coaching and stuff like that. So it's always good to hit that bell. Because I don't necessarily have a schedule around these parts. I just get in where I fit in. So the twins are in the background. I can't guarantee that they will not have a question for me or anything like that during this live chat. So bear with me as usual. Okay. All right. So which one of these topics should we start with first, you guys? Well, let's say, which one should we do first? Well, let's just start with the good advice. All right. Because everybody could use some good advice. Let's just start there. All right. So this is just a few pieces of advice as I've been on my support groups reading the interactions there and also the comments that are left under my videos. It does give me insight into things that, survivors are struggling with, right? And if I see these patterns, I know that it's definitely worthy to mention on the channel. Okay. Go ahead and use the bathroom, hon. The twins, they have to let me know every time, which is fine. But I will have to have a conversation with them about, don't worry, honey, just go. When you gotta go, just go. It's like they need me to say, go do it. It's just cute. But yeah, so, these are just some running themes, you guys, that I've seen that I, find worth mentioning here on the channel, and take what you can to help you on your journey. If you already know this stuff, good for you. Good for you. But let me close my door a little bit. So as far as people feeling stuck in their healing process, I want to encourage you guys, this is point number 1, to reach beyond your pain and suffering. A lot of times, it is normal, of course, to go through a period of feeling in the midst of your pain and suffering, and it's important to feel these things, right? You need to feel it because that means you've acknowledged it, right? But there is a difference between feeling it and acknowledging it and then just flat out living in that space, right? It totally will not help you energetically because it's going to pull on you because what type of emotions are you continuously tapping into at that point, right? So if we're reaching beyond our pain and suffering, that's actually going to enable us to get to the lessons because that's where they are, right? Beyond the pain and suffering per se. There can be a lesson in how it made you feel. Yeah, absolutely. In a fleshful type of sense. But then when we get a little more philosophical with it and we reach beyond the pain and the suffering that we felt in that situation, that's when we're going to be able to take those lessons on the highest level. So many people I find, that are stuck or feel like they're in a stuck type of energy because they're hanging out with their pain and suffering a little bit too long there, and a lot of time this is happening. To give you guys a little bit more insight on that psychologically, people hang out here because they're usually yearning for some type of external approval. Because remember, the person who caused that pain and suffering to them usually is running from that accountability. If we're talking about a narcissist or the typical toxic person, who's going to be very self-righteous and see things through a certain lens that is not in alignment with reality here. So people are dwelling here waiting for that external approval. And I keep saying this because when we talk about manipulation a little bit down in this live chat, it's all going to connect with this. But yeah, that's why it's important to, get in your own strength, of course, and learn how to just validate yourself. And then, of course, if you have a tribe of people, such as, a community like this, a close friend, family members who can honor your truth, that's a way of getting that approval as well. Through professional counseling and stuff, you can get that approval as well. But too many people need to have it from the very same source, or they think they need to have it, or they're seeking it basically from the same source that caused it, which, psychologically in our emotional intelligence is going to be pretty much ass backwards, you guys. They're not going to agree to that. Chances are they're going to say, you made me do it. It was your fault, or, to find some type of way to twist it on you. But yeah, we need to be reaching beyond our pain and suffering. And that's going to help those of you who feel stuck in the healing process. Okay. So that's the one piece of advice right there. Moving on to the next thing, which, these are going to be a little interconnected. I want to advise you guys to look to change your negative feelings versus hanging on to them. So this is going to make you more solutions oriented and proactive, basically. And once you're doing that, you're taking control of your healing process versus being more passive about it. Like, when we're in our pain and suffering, chances are looking for that external approval. Now, internally, I'm tapping into my internal. Even if I use an external source to help me learn how to do that, or I'm taking information from here and there that's helping me internally, then that's good. So let's look to change the negative feelings. And that doesn't mean to lie to yourself. It doesn't mean to say, oh, I feel shitty today. I'm going to pretend like I don't. It's going to say, okay, I feel like this right now. That's a better way to look at it. I feel like that. I feel like this in this moment. Why? Well, you can examine why. Why do I feel this way? That's a good place to start. And then what can I do about it? What can I do about it? All right. And if you find it, it's a situation where I'm living in the past. Okay. So logically, we know we can't change the past, but then we can take another step to examine, well, how am I looking at the past? Am I looking at it through a healthy lens, or am I just looking at it in a victimizing type of sense, a self-defeating type of sense? Have I not reached past my pain and suffering, right? So that I could take the lessons that are going to empower me. And that's why I'm saying like these things can be interconnected in a certain sense. So once you just become a solutions-oriented person, period, you're not going to stay, in these spaces too long to begin with, because you're going to be constantly looking for a way to find a solution, rather than, especially if it's something you don't want around. Like, I don't like feeling this way. This is getting in the way of my productivity, so to speak. All right. So the next thing that I wanted to say is, while you're looking to change these negative feelings versus hanging on to them and, being solution oriented and proactive, you're going to start to get in the energy to where you're feeling like life is happening for me as opposed to me, where you're just on the defense all the time. You can start to be on the offense in a certain sense. So yeah, life isn't just happening to me per se, it's happening for me. And then that also goes with believing in, here, you can drink this water. just believing in, the divinity aspect of things. For those of you who do believe in a higher source, that door got closed for a reason. That relationship had to end for a reason, or this didn't work out for that reason, but it's all for my good, So yeah, life is happening for me and not just to me, even if it's something that you feel like, was unfair. There's something that you need to extract from that situation to help you grow and refine yourself one way or another. You start taking that type of mentality, pretty much anything that you go through, you're going to see the positive. And that's so important, you guys. All right. And, while we're talking about that, we can move on to my next piece of good advice, which is learn how to turn, that dark energy and these dark experiences into fuel versus, making it your kryptonite. All right. And this is basically when we're taking the lemons and making a lemonade. And how do we do that in real life? We're adding sugar. So how are we making it sweet? With the lessons, right? We're adding some ice, which means after we're taking the lessons, we can detach from it because ice is cold and, detached. And we're going to have some good quality water because, I believe in that. I don't drink tap water, you guys. So we purified ourselves, or, we've gone through a certain type of cleansing. So we have to learn how to take the dark energy and turn it into a fuel, a positive fuel. Like, okay, what can I do? How can I use this experience to fuel me in life? One thing people say is, I'll never be on that vibration again. I'll never fall for that again. That's already a fuel right there. And when I say fuel is not necessarily you needing to prove yourself to someone. Go ahead, sweetie. Good. So, yeah, the fuel is to help you, not to prove to anyone else. Michelle wanted to chime in on the tap water. Michelle says I shouldn't, but I do drink tap water. Well, I ain't trying to shame anyone that does. And honestly, I'm here in America. Different states have different qualities of water, and there's a way to filter it, and all types of things to purify it even more. Some people even boil it first, to each his own, So, yeah, I'm not trying to, but it's just me and my little bougie self. But yeah. So that's, the good advice here. I mean, this whole live chat is good advice, really. But that was just, a little moment of me just spitting out some things here. So yeah, make sure you're fueling yourself versus, making your experiences kryptonite. Yes, I do love well water, Michelle. All right, so let's talk about manipulation next. Or should we? Or should we jump into why empaths rebound? Because, my answers are real simple. It's not complicated. It's not complicated at all. No, let's do manipulation next because that's the one in front of me. So let's just go there. There's a lot of shallow reasons why manipulations work on some people, or everyone at some point, right? And we don't have to dwell on those shallow reasons. I'll assume that you guys know them, like, oh yeah, somebody lied to them. Yeah. They weren't mature enough or they were ignorant at that time. Yeah. So these are the type of reasons that we could already know. Hold on, you guys. Let me tell the twins just to be a little bit more. Shh. Hold on. All right. So why did manipulation work? One of the twins is using the bathroom and the other one is like, ill, like, oh my God. There's never a dull moment around here. So why manipulation works on some people on a higher scale. I finally got a chance to watch Power Book 2, you guys. And it's very relevant why I'm mentioning it. Mary J. Blige said something And I was like, yeah, that's it right there. She was talking to one of her sons in one of the scenes about how to get the upper hand in a situation. And for those of you who haven't watched, don't even know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's just a show stemming off of a season called Power on Stars. And by the sidebar, Mary J. Blige did a really good job here, because before this role, didn't really see her as such a great actress for some reason. I don't know. I've seen her in other things. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. But she actually played this role pretty good, a little bit too good. I won't make no assumptions here, but she played it a little bit too good. But either way, during the show, she said to her son, she was like, well, when you find out what they want, you could take it from them or give it to them. And that's what manipulation, basically, how, someone excels at it usually. They find out what somebody wants and they can give it to them or take it from them. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper with this whole concept on how it works in a 3D. Now, if what you want is wrapped up in a 3D or something external outside of yourself, that's how you'll be a person that'll be easily manipulated at that point. And especially, when I'm saying 3D externally, that means you're relying on someone else to give you something, that you're desiring. It's wrapped up in it. So they have the upper hand at that point because you place them in that power position. So now they can manipulate you by giving that to you or taking it from you. And then this is how that works when, the narcissist is love bombing, right? And giving you all that attention because that's something that you wanted, in your toxicity or that codependency. I'm giving an example here. And then when they take that from you, what happens? It's like the whole world crumbles, at least at first, when you're still in that unhealthy state and, not viewing things in a certain way or, realizing certain things for your, from your higher self. So your whole world feels shook at that point. So yeah, you're going to be easily manipulated if what you want is wrapped up in something external. So if your ultimate goal is, look, I just need internal peace, and you realize, what's this? Hold on, you guys. I have a phone call. 1 second. Aw, that was a family member who's in a hospital right now. So I'll be going there after this live chat, you guys. But yeah, if what you want is just wrapped up in the 3D external, and even if it's something like your peace, if your peace is having that relationship with someone else, yeah, someone's generally going to be able to have that upper hand on you, you guys. So they can either supply you with something or strip it from you. So that's just something to consider. You become a very powerful person when what you want is something they have no control over, basically. Basically, if you want to just put it that way. So let's talk about other reasons why manipulation works on some people. Sometimes the patterns of the manipulation is embedded psychologically, right? Let's say you spent your whole childhood sweeping things under the rug, being gaslit. Um, you're just used to a certain type of energy, and you get in a relationship and this is going on, and you kind of fall in line with it. And you're able to tap into that energy because you spent a lot of time dwelling in that energy, and maybe you haven't healed from it yet, your inner child, right? Or maybe you may be aware of it, but you don't know how to stop doing it. Either way, the pattern is still embedded psychologically, and it hasn't been reworked or replaced, with something else. So it's easy for you to fall into that energy. Another reason why manipulation works on some people is because some people are easily distracted. Because manipulation can also work where someone has you, the whole idea of don't tell the right hand what the left hand is doing, or some people say the left hand what the right hand is doing. Either way, same concept, you guys. They have you distracted and focused on something else while something else may be going on behind the scene. And then sometimes you find out in plain sight, but you were so distracted by something else. And that could be the manipulation of what you wanted. Like, oh, this person was giving me so much attention, I didn't notice that they were stealing money from me. Or I didn't notice, these betrayals were happening as I was so focused on the distraction, if you will. So if you're easily distracted, and that means wanting something that's externally provided, yeah, that's another way as well. Another reason why some people are easily manipulated is just moving too fast. We've all been probably guilty of that, right? Too short of an observation, haven't been really proven that long, or, your testing period for things is just not long enough. You just taking things at face value. Oh, this person was good for a day, a week, just moving too fast in situations. Even in America and throughout the world, when products are created, there's some type of testing period where they're going to test out a product to see how long does it take to break down, this sort of thing. And we need to be more mindful when we are filling people out and getting to know them, that phase of the relationship. If anything, narcissistic abuse should teach you is to take your time in that phase and really, really not overthink, but whatever red flags you're finding during those times, we can't minimize them as well, because that's moving too fast as well. Because if something is tugging at you and you're shimmying over it, you're moving too fast, right? So another reason, you guys, why some are manipulated easier than others is just being too trusting. All right. And that can tie into moving too fast. Although you can just be hasty, and having deprivation, something that I'm going to talk about in a moment here as to why survivors, empaths, rebound into relationships as well. But yeah, being too trusting, you guys, not really doing the fact checking as you should, and to this, I'll just say, just think about world-class magicians. What have they taught you about the power of illusions, right? They're very crafty, and they'll make you feel like they're walking on water and all types of stuff. So, what you're seeing with your eyes and everything, that can be, you can err on caution at times, all right? And then when you're dealing with a manipulative person, okay, that's not lazy. A crafty narcissist, they're going to really work on that illusion for you. So, fact check, you guys. Fact check. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the survivors in rebounding into relationships, because we always talk about how narcissists do it, and they do. But I'm going to have to acknowledge here, honestly, we want to look at both sides of this. When they're rebounding, chances are is with another empath, or someone that will eventually be a survivor. So they're trying to line up new people, or people that were in the background, are bringing it to the forefront at this point. But either way, empaths, you rebound into relationships oftentimes because you're in deprivation mode. You have to think about all the things that you were getting starved of in the cycle of abuse. And even the attention that you were or was getting, you find out it wasn't sincere and this and that. So, not filling your own cup a lot of times, and just really wanting that companionship and being eager for these things, it sets you up to jump into another relationship, which unfortunately can set you up to end up with another narcissist too. Because if you're rebounding and jumping into something, you're moving too fast, right? And you're probably not doing as good as you can fact checking, and then you're going to be easily manipulated because there's a desperation there. All right. That person starved you so hard that you're just hungry for affection. You're hungry for something real. And then, something resembles that, or it gives you that type of energy, whether it really is or not, because it could honestly be another love bomb, right? From a new narcissist. At that point, here you are jumping off the cliff. So, a lot of empaths, they end up rebounding because of that deprivation, or feeling starved and just trying to fill that void. And also, you could possibly be just running from your pain too. Because there is that saying, you get over your old person with a new person, a distraction, if you will. So, that could be going on as well. So that deprivation and being starved and trying to run from your pain, for sure. And then, let's point out this aspect of an empath, always trying to be a fixer, always trying to rescue and save a lot of times. So, taking on a new project, that's something that can be coming into play at that point. Taking on a new project. But the interesting thing, or the more insightful thing, and psychologically here, is how the project should have been ourselves and not another person. So with that being said, I will point out that the empath and their toxic energy can be just as much as a codependent as a narcissist, right? So that codependent energy is not going to want to sit with themselves. They're going to view singleness as a punishment or as something negative. And then, oftentimes seeing that narcissist run into their next relationship may make you feel fueled to do the same, trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you will. But, that's out of our emotions, right? That's out of our emotions. Because when we get into our emotional maturity and we think about why the narcissist does it, that's certainly not a good reason to be doing it. So why would we follow suit, right? So that's just some things to think about here as we talk about why empaths rebound into relationships as well, from a psychological aspect. All right. And with that being said, you guys, another thing that I wanted to talk about on this live chat was how to actually focus. All right. Because as I mentioned, when we were talking about manipulation here, as I said, some people are easily distracted. So that being easily distracted means that we're not good at focusing. All right. So I'm going to give you some helpful tips on that, because this is going to be really helpful. The first thing I want to say is focusing in our society, I think it's been a lot of painting things the wrong way. We say that focusing is basically doing more things. Like, I'm focused, I'm doing 20 things at one time. No. Although I'll say when you learn how to focus, it will lead to more productivity in your life. It will lead to a higher quality or more potent output, if you will. But no, focusing doesn't mean multitasking necessarily. when we learn how to focus, we learn how to actually get rid of distractions. We learn how to quiet our mind and have a quiet space for our quiet mind to enter so that we can meditate on things. And this is when we're a good vessel for information to come to us at that point. All right. So it's actually getting rid of distractions, not bombarding yourself with a million things when you haven't even quieted your mind yet. So, and this isn't to say that, multitasking is a bad thing. No, with a quiet mind, absolutely. But with an unfocused mind, absolutely not. Right. Because then it'll be counterproductive and I feel like you didn't get anything done. You started 10 projects one day and didn't complete any of them because you really were just distracted and your mind was too cluttered, if you will. So, learning how to focus really is just getting rid of those distractions, but understanding what a distraction actually is, too. So, defining what that is. And the best way to do that, you guys, is by getting organized. If you know what your goals are and the steps that you have to take to get there. And, I always have a massive to-do list, but I never infringe on myself to have to complete everything that I set out that day, especially as a mom. One of my favorite sayings is Rome wasn't built in one day. And it's not about procrastinating with me, but it's just saying, hey, I've done all these things. I didn't make it to the end of my list, or maybe I did. But if I didn't, not to beat myself up. Rome wasn't built in a day. So knowing what the distractions are, becoming very organized. As I said in my last chat, I love a beautiful notebook and I write things down. And there's electronic memo pads as well. I have those on my phones and tablet. So, there's plenty of ways to get organized, you guys. But focusing is really about getting rid of distractions and understanding what those are. And maybe in your relationship in the getting to know you phase, a distraction could be sex. I'm just going to throw these things out because, we're talking about to-do lists, but, I definitely want to bring it home to relational advice, which is a lot of people come to my channel for that. So, maybe it's not including the sex at a certain part where I'm trying to get to know somebody's mind and character and their short-term and long-term goals and what's going on in their past and their connection with their family and their religion and how they lead their life. There's all these other things that I need to be focusing on. Is sex a distraction at that point? Number one, do they even deserve to be getting all that before I've even answered all these questions? Depending on what you're looking for, I suppose. But yet and still, you guys. So yeah, we have to definitely learn how to focus. So am I just focusing on how much attention this person is love bombing me, if you will? Or am I focusing on the whole picture of a person? Because a form of manipulation is flattery. Okay. Tell that to the teacher's pet and, even the narcissist that will flatter people in romantic relationship, tell you anything you want to hear. But what are they doing? See, that's the distraction. They distracted you with their words. You didn't pay attention to their actions enough. So, the focus needs to be very intentional at that point, you guys. And when we take our lessons, we learn what we should be focusing on more and having a healthy balance with those focuses, right? Those focal points, if you will. Right, you guys? So, oh, wait a minute. Oh, what happened here? Hopefully I'm still on the live chat. Okay, I am. So it looks like we did I breeze through everything that quick? Yes, I did. That's all what. Do you guys have any questions? About today's live chat? Any questions? Just period. Sabrina IB Boo. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name. I did see your question under one of my videos and you asked me what is an unavailable man. Basically, an unavailable man is a term used in dating world. Basically, when you are dating a man that's not really there for you, not really ready for a relationship for various reasons. It could be he's physically unavailable where he's not spending enough time with you, or he's physically available where he's giving you sex, but he's emotionally and psychologically not there. And we know, when men really attach to a woman, it has to become on an emotional level for you to really seal a deal with getting inside of that man's heart. So, when you're trying to gauge a person's availableness to you, you want to know, are they financially available? Can this person even afford to take me out on dates? So these are all the things that we talk about. A man is unavailable. It means there's something about him that doesn't make him a ready, suitable partner for a woman that is actually looking for a stable and healthy relationship. So financially, physically. Oh, he could be a married man. Like, you're unavailable. Technically, you're somebody else's husband, fool. So yeah. So we're just meaning that something about that man is unavailable to you, and it may not meet the eye, or maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe he's trying to keep you, make you a mistress or put you in the background. I don't know. But yeah, there's something unavailable about him. Or he could just have a cold heart. He could be, have some brokenness that he needs to heal from his past, or his inner child, before he would be able to actually use his heart chakra and, in the way that he needs to have a certain kind of relationship with a woman. So that's what an unavailable man is. All right. So, like I said, the floor is open, you guys, for any types of questions. And let me tell you guys, I'm thinking about doing a case study on the Joker. I don't do a lot with cinema on here, but I have made, a couple. Did I make one video? I made one good video at least, focusing on NPD and basically sociopaths and psychopaths through cinema. And I was like, I would love to just do one on the Joker and to just explore his personality. I like to draw from cinema, even though it is Hollywood and it may be a little bit more dramatized than we would bump into in our day-to-day life. But it's fun. And we can learn something from it. And I find the Joker to be a quite interesting person. But I'm just watching the movies. I know you're like, where the hell have you been? I'm just really watching the movies. And then there's been different Batmans. So, I'm going to really dig into this and look at the different Jokers that have played in the different Batmans, and especially the most recent one. The most recent one is the most drawing to me, of course. So, yeah, I'm thinking about doing I don't know if I'll make it a live chat or a video. Probably a live chat, because then I won't have to edit per se. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's something that I would like to do for fun, and just because I just think he's an interesting person. So, yeah. So I don't see any questions in the live chat, you guys. And hello to everyone who's jumping in. I'm not going to be here long today, you guys, because I do have a family member in the hospital, and I'm going to have to go up there today. All right. Well, make sure you guys hit the like button. And, Michelle, I just kept your comment up here all day. My bad. Share Slay says, that would be very entertaining character study. Yeah. I'm into that. I'm really into doing more things like that. And I may find some other people's heads to get into on a psychological level. Yeah. I just love psychology, period. I know we talk a lot about narcissistic abuse, and that is the roots of this channel, and how a lot of you found me. But of course, I always tell you guys to just learn about psychology, generally speaking, and the human mind and psyche is all going to help you. Don't feel like it just has to only be about narcissistic abuse. because all of it is helpful in all your relationships, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I do agree, Cher. I'm looking forward to doing that. All right, you guys. Well, it was great hanging out with you guys. I hope that you guys took something positive out of today's live chat. And, you know, I'm never going to be a stranger to you guys, no matter how busy my personal life gets. I'll always stay in touch. So thank you to everyone for all of your love and support on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next live chat.